I like the way you said, I don't need introduction. It's like saying I talk too much in a really nice way.
Maybe your reputation precedes you these days.
You're very kind. Remember to press record for me. I don't do it. Press record for me. I don't. Are we in?
We are, but before we go any further, it could.
Saying I talk too much in a really.
Yeah, maybe your reputation precedes you these days.
You're very kind. Remember to press.
I'm really sorry about that confusion. I thought I'd got a delay, but what I'm actually doing is I'm playing the YouTube version, which is about 4 or 5 seconds delayed.
I'm just listening
in the background. So I'm going to nip off now, Libby, and I'm going to keep my eye on the waiting room. And after saying several times that I won't introduce you, I won't introduce you.
Introduce me. No, I can introduce myself. Everyone got it, and we can get going. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm feeling, I don't know about you, but today to me feels like the first day of the new year. Is anyone else feeling this like surge coming back where it's like it started, we're here? And there's been this weird period of like from Christmas to now has felt like about a week and about a year at the same time. And suddenly I'm almost like, right, let's do this. And so whenever I'm coming here to you guys, is always something that energizes me. I love this community. I love coming here to give back because this is what I wish I'd had when I was starting out. This is what I wish I'd had. Somebody telling me once a month, now come on, sort yourself out. Because when you start out, it's quite lonely, isn't it? And it's quite isolating to be building a business on your own if you're used to a 9-to-5 job. Suddenly it's just like, it's me, it's only me. And you've suddenly got to do all these things that you didn't know you had to do. And you've suddenly, to build a business, you've got to learn all these different skill sets and learn all these different habits. And you've got to behave in a way that isn't like you for a while until it becomes you. But there's a long period of time where you're like, am I doing this right? Is this working? And before you get the numbers on the board, there's a really long period of time where you wonder, is this ever going to work? And just jump in the chat and give me an idea. What year of business are you in? Those of you here with me today live, welcome. Just jump in and give me a number on what year of business, of your own business, am I talking to today? And those of you on Team Replay, if you want to connect with me, come into my circle on Genius U and tell me in there because I'd love to connect with you. But in the room today, those of you live on Zoom with me, just jump in the chat now. Get your fingers busy because we always ask you to interact for a reason. So we've got still pre-consistent revenue. We've got 3 months, minus 3 months revenue. Hello. So we've got sort of people that are just starting out there. What else have we got today? Who else have we got in the room? Have we got anyone more than just starting out? Great. Okay, so there's quite a few of you at this hatch. 3rd year, but just beginning to receive the yeah, I hear you, Olivia. Hello. This is where it gets exciting, isn't it? Because some of the things I'm going to say are going to be relevant whatever stage you're at. Hello from Uganda, just starting out, lifetime, 4 years, but restarting. Yes, Jenny, I hear you. That happens a lot as well, right? So when we've got these different stages that we go through, I'm always a fan of talking about the things that matter at whatever stage you're at. But one of the biggest things, and let's be blunt, let's talk about this right up front. You've read the strapline for today is change your mind, change your income. Because we're not doing this for a hobby. And we're not doing this for just the sake of being a charity, unless you are a community runner as well. I run a community for free as well as my businesses, but I need my businesses to pay for my very expensive 3 children. I need my day job, my entrepreneurship. I need that to fund my life. So it has to make money as well. Because whatever stage you're at, whether you're just starting or whether you're 4 years in, the same rules apply. If it isn't making money, it is a hobby, right? So when we look at our businesses, we've got to look at what does it mean when we say change your mind, change your income. What is it you're looking for? What is it you want? And if I could teach you one thing, If I could teach you one factor that really makes the difference between being successful at this, between winning at this and not, that's what I'm going to teach you today. How cool is that? So this is the good stuff you're getting today. This is the stuff that really makes the difference between doing this with ease and grace, doing it really well, doing it in a way that feels elegant, that doesn't feel like that wading through treacle. And on a scale of 1 to 10, give me a readout in the chat. Again, getting your fingers busy. Why? Because I want to connect with your brains. I want your brains to be working with me because you'll remember more. There's information, there's integration, and then there's transformation. I can't get you to transformation unless you play with me and you integrate this information that I'm giving you. So let's get your fingers busy. On a 1 to 10, with 10, feel like I am absolutely glowing. I'm racing ahead. I am winning at life. And 1, feeling like it's wading through treacle. Whereabouts are you on the ease and grace at running your business right now? Just give me a feel of the vibe of how you feel about it. I just want to get a readout from the room. I always like to talk to who I know I'm working with. So we've got Paul at a 4, Olivia at a 9. Hello, Paul. Rob's at a 9, Jenny's at a 4. Rob, that's lucky because you work with me. Very grateful for that. Nick at a 6. If he'd said less than a 9, I'd be unhappy. 5 from Catherine. This is great. So we've got quite a blend, haven't we, of where it feels easy, tough as highs come with lows. You are so right, Stephen. And yes, this is what we're going to be talking about today. I am going to be talking to you about the biggest differentiating factor, 6, says Joanna, which is, listen up, I'm going to say this as importantly as I can. I want a little drum roll. I want some form of cymbal to bang at the end. The thing that makes the biggest difference to your entrepreneur journey is how you feel in that gap between where you are now and where you want to be. I'll say that again. The thing that makes the biggest difference is how you feel in the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And because I'm British, as you can tell by my ridiculous accent, we call this mind the gap, because that's what they say on the tube when you're there about to fall under a train as it comes rushing in. We call it mind the gap, because this gap is everything. Why? Because it means whether you get there or whether you don't. It means whether you enjoy the journey or whether you don't. And it means whether or not you can hold yourself in your emotional intelligence on the journey. Because let me tell you, my friends, if you are not enjoying the journey, the end is not worth it. If you are not enjoying every day that you're living this, don't bother. Go and work in Tesco's. It's easier and they give you a free shirt. Because if you are not enjoying this journey in the middle, this is going to feel awful and it's going to feel really uncomfortable. And there are easier ways to make a living, right? If you are being an entrepreneur, it's because at some point you've made a choice, because you're either an entrepreneur or you're working for one, is the summary. You're either building your own swimming pool or you're spending every hour of your waking life building somebody else's swimming pool. Which would you rather? And how can we make it feel good if we make that choice to do it for us, to do it for our babies, to do it for our communities? If we've made that choice, if we've decided already that this is where we want to be, how can we make, I'm going to tell you, there's a point to this. How can we make this feel comfortable? How can we make this fun? How can we embody this joy of life? Because let me tell you, I love that phrase where when you get to the end of your life, you look back and you realize the small things were the big things after all. Now, I can say that because I've got the money. I know. And you can be sitting there going, yeah, but the thing is, Libby, it's easy for you. And I get it, because I was once in your shoes as well, looking at the people that had money, saying it's not about the money, going, yeah, but hold on. It's never about the money, because when you get the money, you realize there's still life that's bigger than the money. But there is a period of time in your business of building the business, because let's be honest, that's a business in itself. There's a time of building the business where you almost make it all about the money, don't you? You almost make it about, I am not good enough because I haven't hit this benchmark. Right? Is this resonating with you? Yeah. Because I did that too. I get it. I get it. And you make it about the, oh my God, if I was good at this, I would have done this, 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 or this by now. Or if I was, if my product was better, or if this, if this, if this. And these are all, unfortunately, part of the story I tell myself about why I can't have what I want. Ding. There is a story you're telling yourself right now. I'm here to call you out with love. That's my job. I lovingly hold you safe whilst bopping you over the head and saying, now, come on. Because there is a story you're telling yourself right now about why you're not good enough. We have two human fears in life. One is that I'm not enough. Two is therefore I won't be loved. That's it. Everything boils down to those two. Everything boils down to this feeling of somehow not enoughness. And that theme comes out in lots of different ways. And that theme is something which I didn't realize for years. I genuinely didn't realize this for many years. The story I was always telling myself, when I get here, then I'm allowed to be happy. When I get there, then I'll feel brilliant. When I hit that goal, then I'll be a success. Ignoring all the other successes along the way. Newsflash, today was once everything you ever dreamed of. Genuinely, today is the gift that you wished for all those months, years ago. You've forgotten. Why? Because of the gap. Because of the gap between then and now. Now, here's the thing. And here's the really important thing. There is only now. So going a bit quantum, going a little bit woo on you. There is only now. Why? Because now was once then. Today was once everything you wished for, and yet it doesn't feel like then, does it? It feels like now. Now feels like now, and yet it once long ago was when I get there, then I'll feel this. Do you feel like that now? Not always. Our human brain is amazing, but it's also an absolute git, and it trips you up. Now, here's the thing. You can visualize a bridge. You can say to yourself, I want a bridge, I want a bridge, I want a bridge. But if you get there and it's London Bridge, not Tower Bridge, that's a very different bridge. For those of you in London, you'll know exactly what I mean. In America, it's the equivalent of a bridge in Madison County with a little covered thing versus Golden Gate. They're both a bridge. You visualize the bridge. Here is a bridge. Ding, bash my symbol. But if you don't get clarity, if you don't get absolute laser focused on what it is that you want, the getting there becomes a bit less than. Now, why is this important? I said the word right at the beginning. I asked you to give me a number. And I asked you, how are you feeling? Now, that's seen as a bit of fluffy stuff, isn't it? People come to me, and I'm a success coach. I'm a flow consultant with the Entrepreneurs Institute. I have been for, we're now coming up to about 6 years. I'm also a peak performance consultant with them. And one of the things that people come to me for is because they want my results. So when they come to me, they say, how do you do what you do? They ask the how. How do I do what you do? How? And the very first thing I say to them is, forget the how. Go for your why and your who. Start with why. Start with your why. Why are you doing this? Because the how question figures itself out along the way. The how is always going to sort itself out, but the other questions are bigger and they are deeper. And they are, so I run my beautiful Tammy Brain Academy. This is where people can come into a more intimate space with me every month. We get to play together. We have a training session much like this, but we go really deep dive. The subject for this month was Dream Life, 5 steps, DREAM. And the first step of that, the very first step, is the deciding that you want it, which sounds so basic, but so many people want the money. They forget about, why do I want this in the first place? That isn't about the money, because it's never about the money. It's never about the money. It's never about the money because it's actually about how you think you'll feel when you get the money. And let me flip that around, say it in a slightly different way. You want the money, but you want how the money is going to make you feel. You want how the money is going to make you believe in yourself. You want how the money is going to give you certainty. You want how the money is going to give you freedom. Does this make sense to you? Dream day. Just imagine your dream day. So this time, gosh, 3 years ago now, I woke up in Venice, and I woke up in a beautiful hotel next to a canal, and I had the wonderful experience of opening my eyes, and you have that split second where you forget where you are, and then you go, oh. And how much did that hotel room cost? I don't care. I like the feeling. And then I got up and I had a beautiful breakfast there in a beautiful little nooked-in kitchen that had like all plates laid out for you and all the beautiful patisserie goods and gorgeous little picky nibbly bits for breakfast with freshly squeezed juices. How much did that cost? I don't care, but I love that feeling. And then I got to walk out in the streets, and it was Venice Carnival. And if you've ever been to Venice Carnival, it's where everyone dresses up in these glorious masks and head to toe costumes and these regal looking robes from times gone by. And I sat there on a pavement cafe watching these amazing carnival events going on around me. How much did that cost? I don't care, but I love that feeling. And then I went to St. Mark's Square, Piazza San Marco, and then we went up the Basilica, and we stood at the top where the horses are, looking down on the square filled with people thronging as the sun set behind the buildings. How much did that cost? I don't care, but I love that feeling. Is this making sense? Is this resonating with you? This is what money is. Money is feeling. Money is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. Your energy is what I'm here for today. I'm here to talk to you about this amazing electric mind, which we are gifted with and cursed by, because your brain is your best friend or your worst enemy. Your brain can serve you or absolutely cripple you. You know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been victim to that horrible fear of self-doubt, if you've ever been victim to that horrible situation where you keep getting in your own way and you don't know why, where you start procrastinating because you are in pain with the choices you've made, asking you to do something you don't want. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And let's just jump in the chat. Let's have a fess up. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at procrastinating? Let's have a little look. Who have we got in the room? How good? 10 says Paul. Love you, Paul. Straight in there. Hello, Peter. Hello, Joy. Hello, Emily. Hi, Nick. 11 says Stephen. 684 from Duncan, 7 from Rob. He's lying. I'm recovering, says Joanna. 5 from Nick, 10 from Sarah. See, look at this. We know ourselves, right? We know ourselves. We know what happens to our brain, but do we know how to get out of it? That's what I'm going to teach you today. It's really cool. So this last training that I did, the DREAM in the Tame Your Brain Academy, which is awesome, by the way, and it's where you walk with me every month for a year. You pay a small monthly fee to be in that energy more frequently, because it's about, this stuff wears off, right? It's like having a shower or going to the gym, it wears off. You've got to have regular repetition of these pieces that remind you who you are. That's all my job is. I call myself a reminder of the truth, the reminder of what we already know. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Sarah's in my gang. But it's about knowing what next. And people come to me with that how question, but I have to pull them back to this why question. So just pick up your pen right now. I want you to commit to paper one sentence. Why do you want success? Why do you want success? How will you feel if you get what you want? How will you feel? So not a money figure, but if you've got success, whatever figure that means, because to some people that I work with, that's 10K a month. To some people that I work with, that's at the 100K a month level. I've got some 8-figure entrepreneurs. To some, they're at the multiple hundreds per month. So it doesn't matter. The numbers are irrelevant, but the feelings are what we're going after today. How would you feel if you got successful? Now look at what you've just written down. Do you feel like that now? Is there a place where you feel like that now? What's stopping you feel like that now? Is the other way of thinking about it. Because I'm going to take you on a little journey. We've only got about a 50-minute window today. I'm going to take you on a little journey in this time. I talk normally for about 45 minutes. And then at the end, I take some questions. And then I tell you how you can work with me some more if you want to. You don't have to. This is my gorgeous community that I love coming to and giving back. You're totally, totally golden if what you want to do is come here, get this free content, and then go away until the next month. That's absolutely brilliant that you found this place. And I honour you for that. If you're at that stage of your journey where you can't yet invest in something else, that's okay too. There'll come a time when you are ready and you'll track me down and then you'll come and work with me. And that's brilliant too. I've got people that do that all day long that literally jump on a call and go, I've been looking at you for years. And that's fine too. But for now, let me ask you another question. If we look at the continuum of be, do, have, so if we think about what you want is the having, the step before that is what you have to do to get there. Who would you have to be to do the doing, to have the having? And I just want you to commit to paper 5 words. We call this the big 5. Give me your big 5. What would you have to be the person that does the doing, that gets to have the having? 5 words. Don't think too hard. You know the answer. Reminding you, you know who you are. And when you've got 5 words that resonate with you, that make you feel the opposite of wading through treacle, I haven't got a word for that yet, ease and grace, guess. When you've got those 5 words written down, have a look at that. And have a look at who that person is. Could you feel a little bit proud of being that person right now? If I ask you to associate really deeply with just those words, just feel into them. And you might help by putting your hand on your heart and just breathing into them. And just, this sounds silly, but this is somatic integration. This is what I do. Just breathe into it and just go, I am, and say each of those words to yourself, one after the other. I am this. I am this. I am this. Now, notice how that feels in your body to actually feel into those. If there's any friction, if there's any misalignment there, if there's anything that feels like it's a little bit wonky, that might be a clue that you're a little bit out of alignment in your belief system. Now, there's a free alignment test. Again, free resources are great. Go and find them. Go and look on my website for my free alignment test. It's kemkaren.com, just my ridiculous surname. It's in the corner of your screen if you click on my face. And just write that down and then go and look on my website and do the free alignment test, because your belief system drives your behaviors. And I'll say that again because this is important. Your beliefs drive your behaviors. So what you bring to your belief table, and it is like a table, it's like a lid being held up by events. So we need a minimum of 3 things to hold up a belief system. And when you have that belief, your behaviors hold those beliefs up. So I'm going to take an example of the lovely Joanna, who's been brave enough to write some of her words in the chat. And I'm going to ask if you want to briefly play with me, Joanna, and would you like to come on screen with me? If you do.
Okay.
Yeah, well done. Very brave.
I'm introverted, so.
I want to play because you've been brave enough to put it in the chat. And I really love your words. I'm going to read them out here for those that are watching on Team Replay as well. Joanna said, consistent, smart, frugal, brave, committed. So I'll read those again. Consistent, smart, frugal, brave, committed. How does that make you feel hearing that, Joanna?
It's kind of, I partially owned it, but there is this little voice says, okay, can I be frugal? Can I be consistent? Can I be brave? You know, that kind of, I earn good money, or I used to earn. And kind of venturing to new worlds where I'm not earning anything, and all I have is a couple of pieces of paper where I describe my idea, and I look at it, and I look at my shrinking bank account, and I think to myself, hell, I don't know.
So those of you listening, can you hear the belief system here? Can you hear behind the words Joanna's very obvious fear line? And that fear line is stopping you from committing to those feelings totally, isn't it? Because the fear of, can I do this? And hear the language, can I be frugal? Can I be consistent? Joanna, how would your life change if we swapped those words around just slightly and we said in a different way, how could I be more consistent? How could I choose to be more consistent? If we did a little tweak.
Yeah. I know the concept actually, because I'm in IT, and the concept is from design thinking in a way, and it's rather than phrasing something as a given, you look at it in a form of a question, and then creativity starts coming in. So yes, absolutely. I mean, I didn't think about it in terms of behavior, but yes, you're right.
It's the same thing. We design our life, literally. And so if we use the same principle of design thinking, at the moment, your eyes are set on frugal. What would change in your life if your eyes were set on overflow? So if instead of contraction, how can I keep the tiny amount of money I've got? We went for how can I create overflow in my life?
Oh, I'm very good with abundance. The problem is...
The problem is, so Joanna just opened her big book of fairy stories.
The problem is that, I sometimes, don't see the boundaries. And sometimes, like I live the life like I've got unlimited resources. And then I look at my bank account and I say, oops.
And that's a bit of a wake up of like, hello.
Yeah.
The story you're telling yourself about why you can't have what you want is money centric, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would your life be able to shift if we took money off the table and concentrated on the principle of overflow instead, of steering towards overflow rather than steering towards frugality and lack? Very small shift, but polar opposite in behaviours. Creation of overflow is the opposite of conservation of funds. Does that make sense?
I think that this is something, an issue that I have, I was kind of, it stems deeply from my childhood. I grew up in Poland, in a communistic country. I mean, in a family that hardly could make the ends meet. So when I started earning well, it's kind of, I don't want to feel restricted, but at the same time, now I know that I have got certain money put away, and if I'm frugal and I kind of conserve it, it might be enough.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
I got it. Thank you, Joanna. This is really cool. Lovely to work with you. I'm going to go back to the main group now. Thank you for coming up, or even being an introvert. You did brilliantly.
Thank you.
So I hope everyone heard the languaging there, and I hope everyone heard the moment that Joanna opened the big book of but the thing is. We all do this. We've all got layers of limiting beliefs that hold us back. One of the biggest times in our life when we form our belief systems is age 6 to 9. We form our model of the world at a point in time when we revere the magical big people above us. They control the money, they control the power. They tell us what's what, don't they? Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Your belief systems come from this primal period where we get told certain things. What we choose to take with us after the age of 9 is based on what feedback we get. But I want to take you into this concept of I am briefly. So if we just listen to the languaging that Joanna was using, she has a belief about whether or not she can be frugal, about whether or not she can live in a certain way. And Joy says, success is rebuilding outside of the limits we've put on ourselves. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And if we have this idea of what it is that we want, if we know the shape of the bridge that we want, how about we start using our amazing minds to ask the right questions to steer us directly to that bridge? So using London as an example, the bridges of Tower Bridge and London Bridge are right next to each other, by the way, on the Thames. And yet they're very different. There is a thing of legend that America bought what they thought was Tower Bridge, and when they arrived and unpacked it, they found out it was actually London Bridge, which is a flat, boring, like stretch of concrete. And then they rebuilt it and went, hang on. And so Tower Bridge is this beautiful, like fairy wedding cake, pinnacles and turrets and God knows what. But when we get this picture in our mind of what we want, the trouble is we superimpose on that our limiting beliefs about whether we can get it or not. So you can hear Joanna's got this entanglement with the feelings around money, the feelings around scarcity. And Joanna's background is very obviously clear as to why, because she was growing up in a place of scarcity, right? So that becomes ingrained. Oh, be careful. Don't lose it. I had the same. I was a product of two very poor teachers who were so poor that when they made our evening meal, they wouldn't eat themselves. They'd eat the scraps that we left behind. And my dad had to get a job. Bearing in mind, he was a deputy head teacher of a big school in London. He got a job as the caretaker. So he'd stay behind, take off his deputy head uniform and put on the caretaker's uniform and sweep the playgrounds to earn extra money to pay for our food. Like, we were that poor. And so the experience of growing up for me was one of intense scarcity, intense lack. And somewhere along the way, I flipped the script and I decided I was not going to settle for that. What are you not prepared for settling for? What feelings do you want to feel? Because money is just buying yourself a set of feelings, that's all. And when you change your mind to change your income, what happens is you decide that D, that first D in the DIEAM sequence that I just taught the Tammy Brain Academy, that decision is bloody everything. And I'll give you the other two steps of the D. You decide, you define it, and then you declare it to the universe, and then you make it real. Really great principle in life, right? But I got my kids to do this recently. I sat them down at the beginning of half-term week, and I said, right, write on a piece of paper, what do you want to happen this week? What do you want to occur? And we had things like painting our nails, going for a walk in the woods, riding our bikes, going to the cinema, going for milkshakes at Jenny's, this tatty little cafe near us. I love it so much. And what was lovely was I didn't mention it all throughout the week. And then at the end of the week, at our final dinner together, I got the piece of paper out and I held it up to them and went, look what you just made happen. And we ticked off every single thing on that list. And I hadn't done it very overtly. It was just naturally brought through in each day. And I'm just teaching them from a very young age about overflow, about abundance, about this ability that we have to create our world. Let me give you an example to make this real for you. So when we create our world, what we do is we put down on paper something that we want to be true, and we feel the way about it as if it already is. I'm going to use a very real world example here. Hold on. Hold on. This is a bit of paper from Bali 2019. So I went to Bali with Genius U, and this is a client retreat that I was on. We went to Vision Villas, which is the Bali retreat, which if any of you have been to Vision Villas, it's gorgeous. It's built with all the four energies. So you've got the dynamo part, you've got the steel part, you've got the blaze part, and you've got the tempo part. And all four corners are sort of arranged on ley lines, and then they come together at this intersection of the Y energy. So all four of the points join up into this Y piece in the middle, which, as I said to you earlier, you don't just start with the how question. You need to go back to your why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? And in that why piece, I wrote a letter. And this is an exercise that I do with my clients all the time. But I found this letter the other day and I opened it up. And bearing in mind, those of you that follow me on social media, and if you haven't been with me on social media, by the way, do go and find my account. It's just called Tame Your Brain. And in the journey through this last couple of years, one of the biggest pieces that I've done is move house. And I had this weird realization the other day that suddenly I'm a millionaire. And I had this weird like, oh, a real sort of like, that's interesting information. And I didn't notice when it happened, because the gradual building of my brand and the building of the Tame Your Brain Academy and the building of the clients around the world, and I've got some of the lovely ones like Sarah and Emily with me here today, and Paul, who have been walking with me for a while. And the wonderful thing that's happened is I've never focused on the money, I've focused on the service, and along the way, the money showed up. Simple as that. And so I've moved house and I've bought this property that's got its own woods, and it's got this amazing feel to it when you walk in, and you can't see any other houses, and it's detached in the middle of this glorious sweeping woodland, and then you go down and then you go up the hill at the back and you come out onto this cornfield, and there's such a sense of space and freedom is one of my biggest values. And so the minute I walked in, I literally was on the property for 6.5 minutes before I put the offer in, and I bought this house and I moved there. I literally just moved in January the 3rd. We moved in, and then I found my notes back in Bali 2019, and one of the things that I wrote on there in my own little handwriting was, I finally moved house to my, and as I read this back, I was like, wow. And I created this, I've manifested this as surely as if I'd got a magic wand and went ping, because I've put my energy onto it, and I've therefore made it happen seamlessly along the way. Just like that trip to Venice, I manifested that. That was something where I'd visioned it, because I went there in 2017 on my own, and I walked around, and I don't know if you've ever traveled on your own, but there's this, and I think, who was it, Olivia saying earlier about wanting to travel, but traveling is such a freedom, such a feeling. And I'd gone there first on my own, and you're quiet when you're on your own. You're not talking to anybody apart from ordering food and ordering a drink. You're silent the whole time, so you get a lot of time for thinking. And in 2017, I thought to myself, this is a city for lovers. This is somewhere I should be with someone who I adore, and someone who I revere, and someone who feels the same way about me. And guess what? I went back there 3 years ago in 2020, and I made that happen. So I'm giving you these examples, again, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that this doesn't have to be hard. This doesn't have to feel hard. Because if we can hold this gap with the energy as if we are here already, the gap becomes effortless. So let me give you some hows, because I know you're all going, yes, but tell me how. I get it. We first of all need to be really precise about who you are. This is the I am statement. So I asked you just to come up with 5 words about what would it feel like when you get to success. I want you to look at that list now. Just pick one of them. Just pick one of those words that you've just written of your big 5 about what it would feel like to be successful. And what I want you to do, without thinking too hard, because this is really simple. This is really simple. Just pick one of those words and then write down 3 actions you can take to feel more like that right now. Exactly where you are now, because there is only now. Exactly where you are now. How can you feel more X right now? What practices, what rituals, what would you have to believe? What would you have to think? What would you have to feel? What would you have to do? And just jot down 3 ideas right now that here and now would make you feel more of this. And let me give you an example for those of you that are struggling with this concept. So if one of my words is freedom, if that's one of my highest values, if I want to feel more free, what can I do before I get to the place where I'm able to travel to Venice, be in that canal side hotel room where I wake up and can smell the coffee from my breakfast already greeting me for the morning, before I lie on those beautiful sheets, before I'm there, How do I feel that now? Okay, freedom to me is travel, it's open space, it is choosing, it is the gift of time. So I can very simply get my kids, put your welly boots on, come and walk with me across this cornfield out the back of my house. That triggers the same neurology that you need to close this gap. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whenever we look at what behaviours we need to run, we're actually talking about what wires do we need to fire. That's why my strapline of change your mind, change your income, it's about changing the wiring in your brain first. Changing the wiring of where the electricity goes. Changing the energy in motion, the emotion that I talked about earlier. Because the emotion precedes the motion. The emotion gives you the power to move. I want to get you to draw a diagram right now. So this is a house. Everyone draw a house with me. We're all going to draw a house. We're not going to look at each other. We're just going to draw a house, just like it's if we were in primary school and they say draw a house. Are you ready? Go. You know what to do. We all know what to do. This is hilarious. No matter what nationality we are, we know exactly what we're doing right now. Okay, 10 seconds. Make it good, people. I'm expecting big things. This is a good group. Don't let me down. 5 seconds. Ready? Okay. Everyone show me your house. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's a fancy house. What have we got? What have we got? Lamia, good show. Well done. Good work. These are good. I like yours, Stephen. It looks like a blackboard. This is good. Excellent. Excellent work, everyone. Well done, team Tame Your Brain. Now, what's important about this is that the same features are there, aren't they? We've got some windows. We've got some doors. We've got some bricks holding it all up, and we've got some mortar holding it all together. These are the facts of manifestation that we've just shown. We need certain things. The order of them is what counts. The arrangement of them, not so much. It's still a house. Whether it's like Paul's, yours is bigger than the house I've just bought, Paul, just so you know. whether it's like mine, which has got a flower, obviously it's got to have a flower. But we've all managed to build a house, right? Now, here's the thing. I want you to write some things underneath the ground. So where you've got your earth, I hope you've got a garden. I want you to write the word physiology or body, if that resonates more with you. And in the roof, in the attic, in your loft space, I want you to write the word behaviour. And then, if like me, you've got smoke coming out the chimney, whatever's coming out the top of your house, write the word performance or results, whatever resonates with you more. Now, why is this important? Because as an executive coach, as a neuro coach, as a peak performance consultant, people come to me for that bit out the top, the production. They say to me, increase the bottom line, increase the revenue, increase the profits. They sometimes come to me with the knowledge that that comes from the step before that of the behaviour, what's in the roof. Very rarely do they come to me with the knowledge that it comes from what's inside the house. And you can write in each of the windows. So on the bottom floor, we want a think and a feel in 2 windows. Think in one window, feel in another. And then in the top floor, we want action and reaction. Now, here is the clue. This is the one thing that my top entrepreneurs do that makes the difference between them winning this game and not winning this game. Your ability to hold and run a business is entirely correlated to your ability to hold and run your emotions. Your emotional intelligence and your energetics are what makes you a success or not. Your ability to control what is below the line of the chimney, not what comes out the chimney. That is just a byproduct of who you become when you're doing it. The money is really irrelevant. It's who you become. And if you don't enjoy the journey, you don't get to become that person, because you are tied up in stress. You're tied up in self-doubt. You're tied up in anxiety about what if I fail? You're tied up in self-doubt about, am I good enough? Can I do this? You're locked in entanglement with those emotions that hold you down rather than lift you up. Your ability to be a successful entrepreneur is directly correlated to your emotional intelligence. That's why my brand is called Tame Your Brain. Because I can give you all the strategy in all the world, but will it work for you? Not if you can't run your brain. I can give you all the tools in all the world. I give them away for free every day. In every go live that I do, I give away all my tools for free. Is that what makes the difference? No. What makes the difference is how you regulate yourself, how you manage your nervous system, how you look after those wirings and firings, that electricity that runs in your brain. What do you do when a limiting thought comes along? Do you live in fixed mindset where you go, I can't do that, there's no way I can ever be good at that? Or do you go into growth mindset, which says, how can I look at this differently? What can I learn from this? What can I take from this? What would be the best interpretation of this that I could give to myself right now? Your ability to remain in this core central strength when you have zero proof around you that it's going to work. Your ability to hold yourself in that gap between where you are now and where you want to be. These are the magic pieces of the puzzle. These are the bits that make the difference. These are why people go, when they come to work with me, where they go from where they are to sometimes 200 or 300% of their results. I had a client recently, Amanda, her name was, and she is in California, and she's been in this business of photography for, I think, about 4 years before she met me on another course. So I would go into other containers and teach other communities as my way of giving back. And within 3 sessions of working with me, she'd gone from about $300 I should say, every month to 10,000 a month within 3 sessions, just because all we did was change the wiring. All we did was change the entanglement of emotions. All we did was remove some of the pieces that she kept telling herself about why she couldn't have what she wanted was there in the fairy story that she was carrying around. And dear God, that thing's heavy. Put it down. I'm here to tell you, you're not broken. You don't need fixing. When you're ready to lay down that story book and come to me and say, okay, I'm good, but I want to be great, that's when I come in. Because I'll help you walk that path, because I've done that. You don't have to feel like there's something massively wrong with you. There's a lot of coaches out there that will tell you that, right? There's a lot of people that say, oh, you need to do this thing, you know, unless you do this, you're going to fail. There's a lot of people trying to sell you stuff on the internet right now. It's a very busy place, isn't it? It's a very noisy place. I'm here to tell you, you are golden and you can tame your own brain. You can do this. You can do this. I've probably got more faith in you at the moment than you have, is the thing. I've probably got more belief in your abilities than you have. And I will be your biggest cheerleader, telling you over and over again until you get it, you can do this. When are you going to start doing that for you? When are you going to choose to put down that belief that there's something wrong with you? And when are you going to start to hold that self-belief in, and here's the thing, in absence of proof. Hear me on this. If you only take one thing away from this today, in absence of any proof, are you prepared to hold in that gap the belief that you can? In absence of proof, it's called faith. But it's not blind faith, it's eyes wide open faith. Wide-eyed faith. Knowing that you are walking this path You might as well enjoy it. Otherwise, the end is not going to be worth it, because there is only now. There is only now. And we know that because now feels like now. So we need to firmly tether ourselves from the now to the then. Not what's gone before, not what's happened before in life. We can let that go. We don't need to repeat the past. You have about 167 thoughts every day. And unfortunately, 95% of them are identical to what you had yesterday. Because we are a creature of the subconscious brain. And if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. If we keep tethering backwards to what's gone before, what are you going to recreate? Exactly the same. It's time to tether forwards to the next field on your journey. It's time to believe you're already there and feel the feelings as if you are. This month in TAME Brain Academy, we are going to be doing a closed eye process, which is one way of deeply connecting with your subconscious brain, enabling you to feel the feelings as if you're already there. And this really helps, guys, because what it does is it puts in place a piece of created proof. So let me tell you my last piece before I close. The magic thing that our brain does that's really quite funny is that if we take this eyeliner as me yesterday eating breakfast, and this lip gloss as me tomorrow eating breakfast, your brain knows no difference. It holds both of them in a space of creation, because I'm creating the memory of yesterday in the same way that I'm creating the picture of myself tomorrow. They're both equally real because they don't exist. This is an electricity trace of something it thinks it can remember. But it's not accurate. I remember what I think I remember. This is why people have very different memories of like a car crash. If they all see the same car crash, they'll remember different things. So these two things are equally real. This one just hasn't happened yet. But we can create the pathways as if it has. And so this is what we do in the TAME Brain Academy. We deliberately build in these pathways in advance of them happening. So if you want to come on a journey with me, I'll start talking about that now because I'm running out of time. If you want to come on more of a journey with me, we are taking on another, I think we've got place for another 5 members this month at the price of, I think we're at 97 a month, I can't remember. But for 97 a month, you can come with me on a journey. This is ideally a year-long journey, but you can leave when you want to. I don't lock people in because I don't believe in it. But it's a journey of companionship and community, because that's something I really believe in, which is why I turn up here every month and do something for this community, to give back to the people for what, oh, look, we're still at 49, that's nice. So for what I wish I'd had, that's my mission, is creating that, because the journey of an entrepreneur doesn't have to be hard. I can make it so simple for you by giving you the really key critical pieces, like this amazing idea of what you feel now becomes who you are then. So I want to just really bring this to the forefront here and just tell you, you can do this. I have 100% faith that you can. You probably don't yet. That's okay too. Come and walk with me and come on a journey with me. I would be so delighted to welcome you in. We've got a community on Facebook as well. I'll let Duncan put the links in. Thank you, Duncan. So we've got some links to click on now to pop them open in a browser. They're in the chat box before we close. Grab them now, and then you can come and join me after a bit of time to think if you want to, but do jump in. I didn't realise we were still at $49. That's bloody amazing. Come in the TAME Brain Academy now then, because that's your price for life, by the way. I won't raise that on you, that's my guarantee, because we've just launched the TAME Brain Academy, so we've got places for our founder members at that price, and then it will go up to the 97 as soon as those places are gone. I think we've already had 10 people jump in, so get in there quick. If you're listening on Team Replay, come into my circle on Genius U, and I will post that link in there for you as well. Let's be honest, Rob will, because I'll forget. And so if you want to connect with me personally, please make sure you've signed up to my mailing list as well, because there's going to be, I'm starting a Reels challenge on Instagram. I bloody hate Instagram. I'm starting a Reels challenge because I'm getting over my limiting belief of, I don't know what I'm doing. We all have limiting beliefs. Never think that anyone's got this sussed. Even people like me that have been doing this for 20 years and made £1 million out of doing it, don't think we've got it sussed. We are still on the journey. I'm just a little bit further up the mountain than you, but don't think that I'm not still climbing. I've got people that I look at, like Roger Hamilton, who are up at that mountain ahead of me, that I look up to. And I get mentored by them just as I then mentor you. This is how it works. We all help each other on the climb. We are climbing shoulder to shoulder up this mountain together. And it is such an exciting journey when you let it be exciting, not terrifying. I know we're high up. I know it's a long way down. I know it's scary sometimes. But come into community. Come and join me, because I'd love to work with you. I'm honoured to work with you today. Thank you for being here. At a time when the internet is so noisy, I'm delighted you found this space. Please come back next month. Tell your friends, share this with 2 people so that you can connect with more people. That's how this works. And do that from a place of love, not trying to get points on Genius U, but just from a place of genuinely this message is important, because I think the more people that know this piece, the better the world's going to be when we all start living to that higher standard and believing in ourselves that bit more. It's a scary time in the world. Let's not listen to those messages right now. Hear messages like this and go deep into yourself and remember who you are. That's my wish for you. Thank you for being here today, people. Loving you all. Thank you, Duncan.
Thanks so much. Thank you very much. And of course, yeah, thanks everybody. And what a great message there. Please do share. This call is open to all. You don't even have to be part of the Genius U community. You don't even have to be on Facebook or anything, do you, Libby? Everybody's welcome. So please do bring friends. Indeed, let me, while we are here and we have just one moment, let me give you the date of March's call. The link will be exactly the same. So as long as you make a note, we'll of course be notifying you and giving you loads of info about that. It's on Friday, the 24th, at the same time, I believe.
I believe so.
Actually, I think we're at 2 o'clock, aren't we, on
Are
that
we
date?
Okay.
So, yeah, we're at 2 o'clock UK time, and that's Friday, the 24th of March.
Perfect. Very excited.
Wonderful.
And the theme for that one will be more deep dive into this little house that we've just drawn, because this is one of my models. I build lots of models throughout the year, and this is my favorite. And the next one's going to be about how we start this integration. So we go from information to integration piece, because there is you can get all the information in the world. The integration piece is where I'm coming after you next. I hope to see you there.
Wonderful. Thanks, Libby, and thanks to all of you guys. I hope to see you next month and see you in the circle, in the group. In the meantime, I'm ready to chat.